All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Frantic Talks podcast, episode 75. I am your host, Frantic. With me, as always, is my lovely co-host,
Grunt. Hello.
Hello, everybody, and we are here to talk about gaming.
And junk.
All right, we got a very interesting episode for you guys today. Don't have too many crazy stories to talk about, although I'll probably start raging by the end of it. It should be fun.
Not before then.
If not before then, we're going to discuss a couple of things pertaining to Games of Gold. An interesting comment from the senior player of Marvel Studios animation, along with my disdain for Polygon's articles. Probably Grunt shares that same disdain, but we'll get to all that here in a moment. First, let's talk about where you can continue this conversation and discuss with us your feelings and all other things related to the podcast. Easiest way to do that would be to head over to Twitter, where you can find both of us. Starting with me, I am at FranticJ3. He is at OnyxSpartan, ONYXSpartan, all one word, and we are at Frantic_Talks. So if you hit up the accounts, you'll get tweets about all kinds of random nonsense. Normally the Frantic Talks account will be tweeting about podcast articles and the like when we go live, schedule changes, all that fun stuff. Then also hit up our special podcast Ghost at FreakShow187. He is, like I said, our special podcast Ghost. He likes puns, and he will puntify anything you throw his way. Otherwise, if you want to join in on the conversation live instead of having to send us tweets on a Wednesday or something whenever you hear it, you can head over to twitch.tv/Frantic Talks, all one word, and that's where you can find us live every Saturday, usually, at 3 p.m. Eastern, usually. And we say usually, asterisk, whatever, because sometimes schedules change, life happens, all that great stuff, like next weekend, where we actually won't be here, but we will be releasing an archived cast, is what we like to call it. So, heads up, that's the first you're hearing about it. We'll probably mention it again just in case you aren't listening or forgot. Also, if you don't catch us live, it's alright. No worries there. You can get the audio version on Monday, but if you want early access, as we like to call it, you can head over to youtube.com, search up Frantic Talks, hit that subscribe button on our account, and once we get 100 subscribers, we can give a better URL. But either way, once you subscribe there, you get early access, like we said, to the podcast. We upload it right after we are done going live every Saturday, and that is... get it probably around 5 p.m. Eastern, somewhere in that realm. Also, you can head over to facebook.com/Frantic Talks, all one word, hit the like button like 135 other people have done, and get a more Facebook form of Twitter. And if all else fails, head over to FranticTalks.com. That is the mothership, which I'm going to put on screen now. I still haven't figured out the best time to put that on screen, but whatever. Head over to FranticTalks.com. That's where you'll get all the stuff that I just mentioned in the footer, along with all other related things like podcasts, articles, and even a link to magic.frantictalks.com, where we talk about Magic the Gathering. All that stuff is there if you want to binge on Frantic Talks, I suppose. If you want to do that. I'm not going to tell you to do it, but that's
you
up to you. Totally do it. Give us all your feedback and have fun with that. But hey, if all else fails, for some reason you're having some trouble finding us, maybe you couldn't find the website, or maybe for some reason you can't find a link to something specific, there's one foolproof way you can find us, and that is 100 times out of 10. Grunt, what can they do?
Direct yourself to your nearest search engine and just search Frantic Talks. You will find us.
Guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
I guarantee it. So, if you, like I said, that's usually if you want to continue the conversation, all that great stuff, hit us up. Should be a lot of fun after today's episode. I don't know where this is going today, but I have a very strange feeling it's going to be a memorable one. I forget what episode number it was, but if you might hear some references to Mr. Steven Totillo today. I don't remember the name of that episode, but I remember the title was Late to the Party. And if you enjoy this episode and enjoy the rants we're about to go on, I would highly suggest listening to that one, because that one stands out in my mind.
I have the website pulled up here. I'm going to find it. It is episode 62.
I thought it was a 2, and I was like, it's not 72, because we just did that 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago or whatever.
Episode 62, Late to the Party.
Yeah, Mr. Totillo makes some claims about Halo 5, and those claims are late to the party, and I'm not happy about that. I'm still not happy about that. All right.
No, you're not.
Well, we're going to start this off like we normally do, with one very simple question that ends up in about 20 minutes of discussion, and that is, Grunt, how was your week?
Not too bad. Let's see. To give the normal brief recap, where do I start?
How about Sunday or Saturday night?
Saturday afternoon, actually, and let's discuss how lucky I am with the Hour of Devastation pre-release pack I bought.
Yeah. I'm just
So,
going to say real quick, we were having technical difficulties and Grunt's frozen face on screen was hilarious, but keep going, you're good now.
of course it would be.
You were just frozen looking up in the air, and I'm like, oh, he's just pondering while he's talking.
I was pondering.
Oh, froze again. We're having some minor issues with Skype here, but we're going to keep going because the audio is fine.
Skype, come on. Stop that. Oh, but anyways, so last week, before the podcast last week, I went down to my local card store and bought a Hour of Devastation pre-release pack that they had from like the week before.
Yeah.
I opened it up, opened the first pack, was going through it, and all of a sudden I noticed that my rare card in it was the new Nicole Bolas Planeswalker.
Very flavorful indeed.
So the very first pack ever that I opened from Hour of Devastation added me the new Nicole Bolas Planeswalker. So that was pretty freaking lucky. But I got a few other cards too that I like from. I got the one that's called Manalith, and it's an artifact that you can just tap for one of any color of mana that you want.
Oh, I thought I had a copy on my desk with me. I don't. I was going to show it. I showed off my fat pack while you're talking about Hour of Devastation. It's like visual cues here. But I don't have a Manalith in this room. I have one in the other room, I know for a fact, but keep going.
Never leave home without your Manalith.
Never leave home without it. Put it in your wallet, like.
Right? Just put that behind my driver's license. Between the car or that.
What was that?
Can't pay for this. Just put it between like a credit card or two.
Yeah, it's like for safekeeping. I don't even know if that's smart. That's probably not a smart idea. Continue though. You got Nicol Bolas, Manalith. Anything else?
Nothing really fancy that I can see that you can remember that sticks out. A few blue spells that counter target creature spells or other things like that. Some good, I guess, control type ones. Sunday, I spent and took your advice and created a limited deck from those cards.
Nice.
Did pretty well. I ended up playing primarily red and white cards, I think it was, with some black and blue splashed in there.
So you went four color good stuff. All right.
Yes. Well, I had nothing for removal from those, so it's not like destroy that creature or anything like that. So I had to put the blue in there if I wanted to counter stuff and not get my face pulverized.
Right. No, I understand.
And I had a good bunch of creatures from red, white, and black. So I'm like, well, you know what? I already have 3 colors. Let's throw this blue in here, and that'll give me some options to counter anything that I need to. So I played couple limited games of that with Grunt that night, and my deck did pretty well.
Okay.
I had one game where we were both beating away on each other and went down to 1 point of health each. And it was a little weird because I had the ability to possibly, win the game on one of my turns, but I messed up and played the wrong card, so I couldn't. So I had to basically survive another turn.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, I drew a card that when I played it, it gained me like 2 or 3 lives, so that put me back up to 4, and I was able to win a very, very nice and close game. So that was cool.
Sounds like it. Well, cool.
Let's see. Monday and Tuesday, played a little bit of the Destiny 2 beta because they extended it by a couple days, and that ended. The rest of the week, I just spent piddling around, doing a bunch of odd and end stuff. So
I get you.
Had an article come out on Wednesday.
That you did, and is on screen right now, titled "The Greatest Hits in the Grunt's Grumbling Weekly Columns Series." And it is a very good read. I would highly recommend it. Grunt discusses in it greatest hits and the... I guess I could let you describe it better than I could describe it here.
Basically, when I bought a Pantera album a couple weeks ago. I could have bought, several of their full albums or their greatest hits album.
Mm.
Well, obviously I bought a full album instead of the greatest hits album, but that was the inspiration behind the article. It's like, the greatest hits are nice, but I often find myself buying the full albums and liking other songs that aren't nearly as played as much on there. So, and I believe you said you were the same way with Dream Theater. After that went out. So
what's really funny about the Dream Theater one, to sidebar really fast, is that their greatest hits was titled Dream Theater's Greatest Hit and 20 Other Songs That You Might Like. Because they only ever had one radio played song and everything else was just fan favorites that never got played on the radio.
That's a clever way of doing it, honestly.
Yeah, and it was cool. I mean, it was Pull Me Under, if you know Pull Me Under by Dream Theater. It's about the only Dream Theater song you're actually gonna know. But it had a bunch of other songs on there, and a bunch of my favorite songs at the time when I found out this album existed, I was like, where are they? So I've never really been big on greatest hits, kind of like how you just mentioned. So,
right.
And when I shared on Facebook, it speaks more to that. I said, when I saw Dream Theater's Greatest Hits album, I was like, I feel like this is lying to the people who are buying it, because it's not. There are some good ones, but there's way better ones that are just kind of hidden, like little diamonds that you'll find.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Greatest hits albums, they serve their purpose. I'd go into much more detail in the article, and I'm not going to spoil it.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not the worst thing, I don't think. But maybe just buy a full album instead of a greatest hit. Who knows?
Yeah. So that is his latest article. You can read up on that on the Frantic Talks website, and if anyone's in the chat, he has already linked it there. You can go give it a quick read. It's a good read. Definitely have found myself smiling and nodding throughout most of it, I would definitely say, because I definitely can relate to everything you were saying in it. So,
all right, that's pretty much how my week has been.
That's good to hear.
So, how was yours?
Well, I'm going to take a sip of this mug of coffee real quick, because I really needed that. All right, so I had an interesting week. Lots of different stuff happened. So let's start on Sunday. We hosted Saturday we played Destiny 2 beta and I streamed it, and I believe you can still find that on the Twitch channel. I was trying to go through and clip some stuff, but I couldn't figure out the ones I wanted to clip. I wanted to find that sick triple kill I got, but I couldn't find it. So
I have a really sweet clip from when we played from Countdown that week, that day. I think that's up on my YouTube channel.
Oh, sweet.
In fact, I know it is.
And it's probably on your DVR too, right? Because those are... Okay.
It definitely is, yes.
Because our DVRs are linked in the footer of frantictalks.com if you were curious and want to check out some of the funny clips. There's a lot of really funny ones. I would highly recommend it if you got a couple minutes to spare. But anyways, we played the beta. The beta's a lot of fun. We gave our thoughts on it in the last episode, so we won't really go into detail there with that. We'll just make a quick side note that the beta for PC is in August, very end of August, like the 28th, and they released the specs. So if you're curious about that, head over to the latest update from Bungie.net. We're not going to be looking into that, but anyways. Sunday we decided to host our own Hour of Devastation pre-release. So it was pretty cool, because what we ended up doing is we all were busy the weekend that the Hour of Devastation pre-release was happening. Oh, this is Magic the Gathering, for anyone wondering. We were all busy that weekend, so we didn't get to go to the pre-release. And I actually haven't gotten to go to a pre-release in the past 2 sets. I've been really upset about that. So hopefully when Ixalan comes out and I get my pirates and fucking dinosaurs, I'm gonna get to go. But
I had something tells me you're going to make sure you go to that.
I'm gonna go in full pirate costume. Shit, man. Like,
I want to see that.
If I end up actually doing that, it'd be a lot of fun. But anyways,
I want to see that.
Didn't get to go to the Hour of Devastation or Amonkhet one. My friends got to go to Amonkhet, but we were all busy during Hour of Devastation. One of them, my good friend Luke, who actually writes on the Magic side, he was actually out of the country starting the day of the pre-release and was going to be gone till basically the Sunday that we did the pre-release this past Sunday. So when they finally got back and we all got together, we were like, we'll just buy a booster box, hand out 6 packs to everybody, and that splits up the booster box evenly. Everyone throws in $15, and then we all get to crack packs, build a deck, and play limited. But then one of my friends, Bob was also part of this. He texted me and was like, hey, how about we ask everyone for $5 extra and buy pre-release packs off eBay? And I was like, well, honestly, it depends on if we want 6 packs of Hours of Devastation or we want 4 packs and 2 Amonkhet. And he's like, well, I'd trade the 2 packs of Hour of Devastation for a more quote-unquote authentic release. When everyone agreed to the $5 extra, we didn't tell them what they were giving $5 extra for. We were just like, hey, we got something better in store than just booster packs out of a booster box. So he told me I had to wear a black polo and get a Magic Judge sticker on it because I'm the closest person to a judge in our group, so I just grabbed a piece of paper and taped it to my shirt. And all these pictures are actually on my Instagram, instagram.com/FranticJ3. Just like you'd spell everything else like on Twitter and all that. And I believe I actually tweeted out some of the photos, so if you're interested in seeing that, it was pretty funny. But anyways, we did that. They were really excited to see the pre-release kits. Oh my god. So my friend Chris, he loves Planeswalkers and foils. Well, his pre-release promo was foil Samet the Planeswalker. And then in one of his booster packs, he pulled another Samet. So he literally had two of the same Planeswalkers in his pre-release kit.
Man.
It was pretty funny.
It's a good thing, I guess, he likes foil Planeswalkers, huh?
Yeah, I couldn't have been happier for him. I pulled the Scorpion God, and oh my god, I have 3 of him. I have one sitting here right now, actually, if I'm not mistaken. This motherfucker, the Scorpion God, I'm going to just close it up here. There are 3 God cards in the new Arbiter's Devastation set, and he's one of the 3. I have 3 of him, because I got a fat pack, which is what I showed, a booster box I still ended up buying and splitting some of the packs with everybody, and then my pre-release kit. Every single one of them netted me 1 Scorpion God, so I have 3 of this motherfucker, and I don't know what to do with him. But anyways, we played. It was a lot of fun. I built a black-red deck that did quite alright. My biggest play was this dude who's like a 1/2 who has Menace or something like that. But when he deals damage to somebody, they have to discard the number of cards equal to the damage they were dealt. Well, it was really funny because my opponent didn't have anything, and this guy has to be blocked by 2 or more creatures. And he plays a creature, and then my next turn I enchant him to be a 5/5, and then I make him discard his hand the next turn.
Wow.
And then he just draws lands from there. So it was a quick game. It was the best play of my day. It was brutal. But anyways, other than that, I got to play Magic the other day with my friend Bob again. We played some EDH. I had some really funny plays. We had this one game that went on for quite some time with some of the dumbest stuff happening. It's hard to describe, but it's my deck where I give away all my stuff. And I was giving all my things to him and then drawing cards, and then he decided to have me draw 42 cards with a guy out that says deal damage when you draw cards. And he was like, yeah, I know I'm going to die. I just wanted to be able to say I killed myself and not you. I'm like, yeah, that's fair. Take 42 damage, please. It's basically how that game ended. But we had some other fun plays. But my Magic week has been a lot of fun. It's been great. And then I got to play this new game that I mentioned on the podcast. And I think that'll be a good segue into discussing this game as a part of not only my week, but, the fact that I played this. So, if you're a long-time fan of the Frantic Talks podcast, you might remember us discussing this game called Pyre back when it was first spoiled. So, Pyre is made by Supergiant Games, and they are the guys who brought Bastion and Transistor to Steam. And those were popular games. They were very unique, both in art style and gameplay. But Pyre was their next project, and they announced this, dude, it was so long. I want to say it was in April of 2016. I don't know why that date sticks out to me, but it was early on in the podcast time. I think probably in the 15 to 20 area. I don't know for sure. But way back
in the olden days.
Yeah, back in the olden days when we still were figuring out our format. They announced it, and I was really excited because it looked really unique and fun, and I like the lore behind it seemed interesting. The art style was unique. And this just got released this past Tuesday. And it is getting glowing reviews from just about everywhere. I've only seen one negative review, and it's been a 5 out of 10 from some person I've never heard of. But overall, it's getting very good reviews, and I was very excited to get my hands on it. It was only $20, and I decided to buy it because I was like, oh, this finally came out. It's one of those where you're really excited, and then you forget it exists. But it's a very interesting game, and I'm having a lot of fun playing it. And to describe it is kind of difficult. Because the idea is that there's this Commonwealth city where people get exiled from, and everyone that you meet is exiled from this Commonwealth. But you're a reader. You read stuff. The people don't really know how to read, apparently, and that's part of the lore. So, being this reader, you got to conduct rites of the stars, and it's all this interesting lore. I'm still kind of wrapping my head around. Haven't gotten my my feet down in. But the gameplay, the only more accurate thing I've ever seen it described as is an action role-playing Quidditch meets basketball game. And that just makes you wonder.
Run that by me again one more time.
An action role-playing game where Quidditch meets basketball.
Huh. Interesting.
So to try and describe that, it reminds me of Griffball a little bit. And maybe,
It's good common ground. I think most people watching this could
yeah.
understand.
So essentially, the idea is it's a 3v3 game mode where you can only move one person at a time, and your characters can do sprints and jumps, and you have this little aura ability, which is kind of like your projectile, like you'll shoot something at somebody. Some characters' aura ability is like they'll shoot themselves at somebody really quick, or they'll shoot a line, like a line of sight. Some might just explode. There's a lot of different abilities, and the way they play together is really unique. And there's this orb in the center of the field that you're supposed to pick up and score in the other team's like pyre, like this like goal essentially that lights on fire. And you have to score it so many times and deal damage to it. So they start at 100. Certain characters will deal 20 when they score. Some will deal 30. Some will deal 15. So like the quicker characters deal less damage to it, but the slower characters will deal more damage. And then you also have the option of trying to get to a line of sight and throw the ball instead of trying to get through the defenses. And
I'm open.
yes, and there's passing, of course. So the other thing is when you pick up this ball, you lose all your abilities and can only run with it. Essentially, you can run and jump, and that's it. And you can throw it.
If Griffball has taught me anything, follow your blockers.
Well, that's the thing is you're solo running it because only one person can move at a time. So you have to try to maneuver yourself around the enemies who have this aura around them, and if you touch their aura, you get knocked out. So that's the basis of the game. That's how it works, and it's pretty fun. Like I'm always on the edge of my seat when I'm doing these. And if I had to critique it in any manner, it's just that there's a lot of story in between each round of pyre or each round of rights where you do this game. That's my only criticism because it's literally just like you get a couple of choices here and there to influence how the characters act in the next one. Like there's certain story bits where you try to get to the next area, but there are 2 or 3 paths you want to take, and each character in your group is like, we should take this path, or this character is like, I probably could find a valuable item in this path. And sometimes they'll find it, sometimes they won't. Other characters will get mad that we took a route that took longer, and they'll lose like stamina for the next game or something like that. So your choices influence your character's abilities in the next game, and that's pretty interesting. It's just the length of time between each one had me a little like, ugh. But overall, I'm really liking this game, and for $20, I'd absolutely recommend it. It's totally worth it if you have Steam or PlayStation. It is unfortunately not on Xbox. You know, I spent all this time talking about it, and you can't even play it on the platform we normally talk about. But it is full controller support. So if you're ever worried about that, it works on Steam with a controller. But otherwise, it's a lot of fun. I'd recommend it. So
Definitely sounds interesting.
yeah, and that's what I was playing the past couple of days, and if I find the time to stream it or something and people want to tune in and check it out, I might do that. We'll just have to see if time allows. So, that being said, let's move on here and talk about some other stuff. We're going to go with Xbox Games with Gold first. So, if you hadn't seen, the Games with Gold for August have been announced, which include Bayonetta and Red Faction. Normally, we like to just kind of one-off mention these because it's pretty important to some people. Like, oh, really cool games got released. Bayonetta is like a cult classic. Everyone loves Bayonetta. Trials Fusion is another one that is being offered.
Hey,
and
I'll probably pick up that one because that one sounds interesting.
Yes, it does. It was one that was always on my list of games that I kind of wanted to try. And the other one is Trials. Oh, sorry, I read the wrong line. Trials Fusion is one, but Slime Rancher is the one I meant to mention. I actually own Slime Rancher on Steam, and it's interesting. It's a farming simulator where you farm slime in first person by shooting them around. It's odd, is all I'll say.
But is it as good as the actual farming simulator?
I mean, they're very different. Let's put it that way.
All right. Well, I guess
the art style is like really cartoonish, and it's not even a matter of like harvesting crops. It's like these little smiling slimes who giggle when you pick them up. Like, I can't compare the two, apples and oranges, man. Like, farming simulators, the only thing they hold in common, and it's very different farming.
Right.
So, the only other reason I want to mention this is because I'm very mad that Bayonetta's free, and I didn't know it was going to be free because I spent so much goddamn time trying to find a copy for the Xbox 360. And the one I did find was a very faded case, but it was $20 instead of $30 compared to, everywhere else. So I was like, I'll take it for $20, and now it's free. So now I'm really upset.
On a scale of 0 to 10, how upset are you?
Can the scale go to 11? Because I want to go to 11.
This one goes to 11.
It goes to 11. So 11. Actually, now I say that, 12.
Okay, 12.
Anyways, those will start kicking out in August, I believe. It'll be the 1st and the 15th or whatever, or 16th, I guess. Trials Fusion will be on the 16th. Bayonetta will be on the 1st. Red Faction's also on the 16th, which leaves Slime Rancher, of course, on the 1st. So Bayonetta and Slime Rancher first, followed by Trials Fusion and Red Faction on the 15th/16th or whatever. I keep seeing the 15th, but...
I see about downloading Bayonetta, because I played the demo for it a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I found it an interesting game. I know a lot of people that have played it back when it first came out, and they really enjoyed it. So
yeah, I mean, it's popular enough to she got her own character in Super Smash Brothers. So I mean,
yeah, see,
people like it. So,
but if we're being honest, I'll probably end up downloading it and never play it, like I have with the rest of the games with gold.
What? Who does that?
Certainly not me.
I think I have 70% of my Steam library unplayed, and I have like a bunch of backlog games. Like, dude, if I were to sit down right now and try to attempt to play all the games that I have, I think by next year around this time I'd be close to done having played all of them. It's pretty bad. I have a lot of those.
But you know what else is pretty bad?
What?
The fact that Marvel... and, I don't even know if I can do a good lead way to this, because you're the one that's really going to tear into it.
Oh my god. Alright. So...
But what characters are more relatable, Marvel or DC?
Marvel. Okay, so... Let me give some background. Let me get some background here for you guys before I go fucking ripping another asshole open here. Alright, so... If you aren't familiar with Marvel and DC, you probably wouldn't know the answer to the question Grunt just asked. So Grunt asks, who's more relatable? Which superheroes, like Spider-Man and Hulk and Captain America, or Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman? So Marvel or DC, who's more relatable? And if you... I would argue a lot of people probably know that it's Marvel. It's kind of been like common knowledge, at least with a lot of people that I talk to who know comics by any amounts. Like anytime I talk to them, it's like, oh yeah, Marvel's got way more relatable characters, and that's something Stan Lee has even said. He's like, yeah, we made them all relatable because at the time we had Superman who can pick up a car and throw it. People can't do that. When we released Spider-Man, it was this little teenager who had teenage problems. He had little family issues, he had money issues, and he's just trying to live day to day. But he's also got these superpowers, and that's what made him so popular and relatable at the time. And we're talking 1960s when Spider-Man came out. He was relatable because of these reasons. So this brings us to the question of which is more relatable, and it's answered as simply as that. Now, let's look at this article by Julia Alexander from Polygon, who states that people are drawn to Marvel or DC superheroes because of a multitude of reasons, but Marvel Animation's Senior Vice President Court Lane thinks one advantage their characters have is totally being relatable. I flipped that, but either way, it's the same engine. So, Marvel Animation, Senior Vice President Court Lane, states that Marvel characters are less iconic and more just like you. They have flaws, they have a sense of humor, and they have relatable problems. Every Spider-Man character is a relatable character, and Tony Stark, while wholly problematic by every definition, is still a lovable character.
I think that's what people love about Tony Stark, though.
No, that's the thing. So I could sit here and dissect why each character is wonderful in their own ways. Tony Stark in the comic books is just an asshole who does what he wants, but at the same time, he's given so much power that he tries to use it in the way he sees fit. It doesn't matter which way is moral. Spider-Man's a teenager who's never had a villain that's trying to destroy the world, per se. He's just had this... I mean, Spider-Man Homecoming, the Vulture was just a dude who was trying to make ends meet. Like, that's Spider-Man's villains. It could be an everyday Joe like you and me, where just, a couple of string of bad days and you're doing what you can, and sometimes it's not the best of things to do. The Green Goblin's one of the only ones that you could even argue is that really that big in my mind, because he owns an entire corporation and he's a very big player. He's even fought against the Avengers. He's about the only one that's up there. Everyone else is just like some two-bit robber who's like stealing stuff from a fucking bank. Compare that to something from the Justice League, where you got like Darkseid, who blows up planets basically and is like this god of death almost, it seems like. Or freaking I mean, shit, Vandal Savage is an immortal dude who's, like, got schemes that are going on for like, years upon years, even centuries. Like, those are a lot less relatable, one, because we're not immortal, and two, because no one can put themselves in that mindset, except for crazy people, I suppose. My problem is that this is the Marvel senior executive of animation here, stating, oh yeah, I really think that Marvel is more relatable, and that's why we're doing so good. Well, to that, I would like to say, well, no shit. Because Stan Lee said that 50 fucking years ago when they made Spider-Man. But hey, you can go ahead and just act like some stunning revelation just happened. Do you even understand the stuff you're putting out? Or are you just putting it out for the longest time and then you thought about it for 5 seconds? Like, oh, I wonder why these movies are so good. Like, all I do is I just, like, put pixels together, and I try to make Scarlett Johansson not have cleavage in a shot. I don't know what the actual reason people like these movies are. Oh, my God. This is one of those, like... Okay, so I'm going to relate this to me, because I feel like I know there are people who think I'm probably pretentious or something. So when you read one of my articles, I often make jokes. The jokes that are like, oh, I probably just enlightened you or something like that, where... most people, when writing something, are trying to get across the point of view they think either people haven't heard or people, need to open their eyes to. And I see this criticism a lot of the bands that I listen to because they often put out lyrics that could be perceived as, like, pretentious or like, oh, I'm smarter than you. And I imagine that rolls over into the stuff I talk about, not because I intend them to be that way, but because I think people just see that I'm, like, stating things that either they realize, they knew, or they just... think I'm trying to be like, hey, I'm really enlightened, and I know things that you don't know. So here are those things. I'm pretty sure that this person is actually trying to sit here and say, like, oh my God, I don't know if the people watching this actually realize why they watch it. They're just like, I really like this. And they go, and they're trying to sit here and tell us, like, you are... unsure why you like Spider-Man. I'm going to tell you why. It's because he's relatable. You could put yourself in his shoes. It's like, dude, no, we knew that. And this is just annoying. For real. Because everyone knows this. And if you didn't, you kind of subconsciously knew it before I said it. So that's my biggest problem with this, is it's like someone who is not able to relate to these characters, because they're a senior executive. They probably make a shit ton more money than I could even imagine. They can't relate to Spider-Man. They don't have Spider-Man problems, but they're busy animating him and making his web look cool, so, I mean, they probably should wonder for a second, why is this working so well? But sit here and just be like, hey... you probably aren't thinking about this. You peasants aren't thinking about why you like this stuff and give me money. Here's why. But I'm going to say it because I think you can understand it and see it from my perspective, that I'm making these things for you, so you give me money. It's like the classic, like, I'm going to be nice to you so that you see it more my way, when in reality I'm just manipulating you. That's a little bit of a leap, of course. But either way, the main point is, everyone knows this. Seriously. What the hell was that in the background, by the way, Grunt?
I think it was a chair sliding across the floor. Somewhere.
Sounded like a horn.
We'll go with that. Maybe it was.
So I'm not going to scream at Court Lane or whatever this person's actual name was. Was it Court Lane? Lane's the last name, yeah. I'm not going to scream at Court Lane, although he is stupid.
So he's not going to get the full Stephen Totillo treatment, huh?
No, he's not. But everyone knows this. Like, one of the comments on this article really made me laugh, and it was like, this just in, Marvel senior executive shits on enemy brand more at 11. It's like, yeah.
Oh, man.
Here's our strengths in case you didn't know. Well, everyone knew your strengths, Court. Stop.
Well, it's funny you should say that about what? Great, church is doing yard work across from me. That's nice. But it goes back to, that comment reflects something else that we had while we were trying to find a topic for today, A lot of this stuff seems like clickbait.
Oh, yeah. Doesn't it?
Yes.
Oh, my God. So in a world where clickbait seems to be on the up and tick, with the last presidential election clearly being one of the biggest influences of it, I would argue, We were trying to find articles today to talk about, okay, and this is ridiculous. So we tend to go to Polygon because they tend to have some good stuff. What were you going to say?
We could just have talked about Pokemon Go Fest.
Oh yeah. Background, and we'll get to that. So we tend to go to Polygon and look up articles, not because I wouldn't say Polygon's our only source. It's just anytime I've looked up like IGN, Polygon, and anything else that we go to. Anytime I've looked into them, they usually have the same freaking articles. It's almost as if the same people are writing and they just release them at different points in time, usually the same day within a couple hours of each other. So it's typically Polygon's been on top of it and we just go there, and as you normally see, we kind of rip into the writers or whoever's talking. So you could argue this shouldn't be called Frantic Talks, it should be called Frantic Talks Criticizes, Polygon or something like that, but that's not true because Steven Totilo was from Kotaku. We ripped him a new one. But anyways, we were looking at articles trying to figure out what we wanted to talk about. Normally we don't talk about a lot of the comic book related stuff. This one I couldn't pass up on, however, the Marvel one. But we don't typically hit on that too much because this is more about games. So as we're looking through these articles trying to figure out what the hell to talk about, there was nothing. It was, as I told Grunt, it's like, so paparazzi stalks like all these famous people, and I'll actually tell you verbatim what I told Grunt. I said it's like the paparazzi stalks Justin Bieber, right? Anytime he's out running about, there's pictures of him everywhere. And the moment he takes a shit differently, the world knows about it because they are just on top of it, camera in his fucking window. Who the hell cares? And some of these articles that Polygon posted is the exact same thought in my mind. Who the hell cares? Oh Jesus, there was some. What was the Pokemon Go one? It might be on the next page.
Which one? There was like 3 of them.
Well, also that there's like 100 of them.
One for reliving the worst moments in
here they are.
Under 10 minutes.
So relive Pokemon Go Fest's most brutal moments in under 10 minutes. Why is it brutal? I don't know. I'm not going to click into it because then that's exactly what they want me to do. The next one, Pokemon Go's mocked team leader, the leader of Team Instinct, has been missing for days. You want to know why he's been missing? There's a bug, and that bug has caused the red team's leader to show up in his spot. But he's been missing for days, and no one cares.
It's just proving that what's the red team? Team Valor?
Yeah, Valor.
It's just proving that Team Valor was the far superior option.
Oh, clearly. Play as these 3 new characters in Wolfenstein 2's DLC packs. It's like, why is that an entire article? Why not just tweet that out? Seriously, some of this stuff just makes me so mad. Oh, here's the best one. Henry Cavill, the guy who plays Superman in Justice League, addresses the Justice League mustache controversy. Oh, guys. There's 5 articles on this, and it's all about some rumor about a mustache.
Hashtag Superman's mustache.
What the hell? Seriously. Some of these articles are interesting, but most of them are just no one cares. James Gunn revealed the interesting way Baby Groot's growth spurt works. What?
What?
Seriously?
Is that real?
Why? Yes, it is. It's 2 below the mustache controversy.
Oh my god. Alright. Just take a minute to reflect on what you just said there. The mustache controversy.
Yeah, exactly. The mustache controversy. And
there's the topic for this the title for this podcast.
The mustache controversy. Oh my god. And what sucks is there's actually decent articles. Literally squashed between the mustache controversy and Groot's growth spurt is everything coming to Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, and HBO Go in August. That's interesting because I watch a lot of Netflix and there are certain things I'm going to be interested in. The thumbnails of The Defenders, which is coming August 18th if you didn't know. But I'm sure there's other things in there. And there's another article that says stuff that's leaving. And I'm very upset Justice League and Justice League Unlimited animated series are leaving Netflix. So these websites have good articles that have content that I'm interested in. But what the hell? Why do I need to know why Baby Groot has a growth spurt? Why?
Well, you see, that's usually what trees do. They grow. They get larger. Some people do too.
I don't know. It's just so clickbaity and so boring. I guess there are some people who would be interested in. I'm interested in a lot of the lore in the comics I read, and you could argue that while I'm reading Guardians of the Galaxy, if Groot went from a baby to a teenager in one issue and I got no explanation, I guess maybe I'd be curious, and that might be why this is an article. Like, when you think about it, there could be some valid reasons. The mustache controversy? No. The only thing I can even get close to thinking is because Superman never had a mustache. You know what Superman did have? In the 90s, he had super long fucking hair. So I don't care if Superman has a mustache. Yeah, sure, it's going to look a little more pedo than people want it to because that's how mustaches are now, but oh my god.
Just give him a handlebar mustache. That's what he needs. Come on.
That actually, they cropped that into the picture, so it kind of works really well.
Of course they did.
Hey, speaking of handlebar mustaches, in Pyre, on your team, there's a dog with a handlebar mustache. Fun fact.
How is that even possible? You know what? Not gonna argue.
Well, you're playing with a demon and a little like imp bird thing. So I mean, it's all fantasy, but it was kind of funny.
Listen.
And one of the driving factors, one of the story points, he actually is like, I've been feeling really down about my mustache. Should I keep it or get rid of it? And based on the choice you pick, he'll get a bonus in the next fight. I was like, no, your mustache looks good. He gets +1 hope next round. I'm like, oh yeah, boosting morale.
That was amazing.
So, in other words, if anyone's going to come and tell us stop reading Polygon articles, I don't feel like listening to that, because that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day, and I would gladly discuss that with anyone who's upset with us reading Polygon articles. Mainly because if you're upset with us reading Polygon articles, you should find something else to be upset about. But anyways, these clickbait titles are ridiculous. They aren't going to go anywhere because they really work. Clickbait works on a whole nother level, or else it wouldn't even exist. And it's just so goddamn annoying.
It's sad. But I've fallen victim to it recently too, so I have no room to complain.
Curiosity is the driving factor. I wanted to click into that Baby Groot one just to learn why an article needed to exist about it. It works.
You will after this is over, don't lie.
In the top article, right at the very top right now, the Defender's Review, more than the sum of the parts, I want to understand what that means. And I have already clicked and read that article. It works. It's just some of the articles are just like, why the hell are we... Did we not have anything to do on like the Tuesday somebody wrote this? Like, seriously. Ugh. Most of the top area articles are fine. Those are like the trending ones and the most popular. Like a review for Miitopia or a Rick and Morty thing. Like, all that's interesting. It's just when you start really digging into it, it's like, who did the intern write this when they were trying to prove that they could write?
Oh, that hurts, man. That hurts.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying you're bad at writing. If that's it, it's not what I'm saying. It's just
No, but it's exactly reasons similar to that. I don't like clickbait titles. I don't want to force people to read something I wrote if they don't want to. So I understand why clickbait exists in the journalism world. It's because, your site relies on clicks for revenue and blah, 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 all that stuff.
And you got to keep people interested. If you're going to attract somebody and they know nothing about you, you need to be interesting.
Right. So I understand why it exists, but
some of
part of me is just like, I want to know real things, real meaningful things, not this list of which characters of Game of Thrones have died this season. Come on.
Why? That's another one. That's another one.
That's a real article.
Seriously. Geez. I mean, people will probably... If someone's looking to be hypercritical of what we're saying, yes, Frantic Talks has done some amount of clickbait, quote unquote, and when it really is our read more. When you go to an article and you read our first paragraph before you click continue reading, that first paragraph, we try to write it to where you're interested enough to keep going. That's just writing 101, though. Most people are going to do that, and just about everyone will do it. If not, you're going to not be successful in any manner. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say Frantic Talks is the most successful journalistic place on the planet. In my mind, it is, but reality says otherwise. But there are certain pieces of it that are just bad, and you can tell it's just no effort was put into it whatsoever. Like the ones, like all those articles that were trending where it's like, doctors hate him, he's found the cure for this or whatever, and in reality it's nothing like that. Like, that shit is the most annoying thing ever.
Well, like all the YouTube videos that I keep getting recommended. 7 reasons why your pinch harmonics suck. It's like, all right, come on.
Right. And but Pyre is actually one of the articles. There's an article about Pyre on Polygon right now. It doesn't have online multiplayer, but there's a good reason why, and you have to click in to find out. So,
just tell us.
Well, I would say spoiling it in the title is a bad idea, because then no one clicks in and reads the paragraphs of effort you put into it. But at the same time, that's just, no one could come up with a better title. Like, if I go and read this, I could probably come up with a better title. I'm not going to do it right now, but you see what we're getting at? Like, this is just getting ridiculous, and I'm tired of it. And there's no end in sight for it.
Pyre has no online multiplayer. Boom.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even have to put the good reason why, but that's just like, it's like, oh, they don't have online multiplayer? I wonder why. Oh, there's a good reason why. Oh, well, now I don't want to click it. For some reason, that makes me not want to click it, but omitting the last part of that statement without the comma and just saying no online multiplayer, it's like, oh, I wonder why.
Right.
It's too much spoon feeding, I think, is the real way to put it. They're just giving you, like, you're an incoherent 5-year-old who doesn't understand the world. Like, I think that's the real problem.
Right, and you mentioned it earlier. This extends to places far beyond places like Polygon, even freaking tabloid magazines off of your store shelves.
Yeah, New York Times is guilty of it. Shit, like one of the biggest ones in the world, right there.
Don't even get me started on tabloid magazines.
Huffington Post, the Telegraph, all of them. They're all bad about it. IGN, every single one of them. And like we said, there's good reason, but oh my god, is it the most annoying thing ever? And it's just getting so ridiculous.
Don't fall victim to clickbait.
Like, here's a really good one. Up in the right now, up in the right-hand corner, it says, Netflix's Castlevania takes aim at religion. I am very interested in that article because, one, I've watched the first couple episodes of the series, and two, I'm always interested in stuff like that. So it's like, that's a way better title. It's so simple. It's like, they did this one thing and it's aiming at something controversial. I want to read more. So, take note from Eric Weiss over here. Like, he's doing it right. I don't even know if he came up with the article title, but seriously. Marketing department at Polygon, get your shit together. Okay, I don't want to go on more rants than we already have here. I think this is a good point.
I think that's a very good point to stop. Don't fall victim to clickbait. Don't do clickbait.
Learn to make a good title that isn't just, oh, please click my article and all that bullshit. Oh. Okay.
When I post this on a Facebook page, I'm totally going to make the description
super clickbaity.
Totally super clickbaity, just for the instant irony.
Now that you've said that, if anyone critiques us, that will be obvious they didn't listen to the whole thing and blindly critique what they hear.
I accept full responsibility.
No, I'm fine with it. As long as we're saying we're going to do that just to be ironic on purpose, it's fine. Because then we can point out the people who just blindly critique the title of something and not the content of it. You know what I mean? I think that would be really funny. All right. With that said, I think that's how we're going to end it. I can see that you and Storm were having a very interesting discussion in our live chat. I can kind of look back through and see the stuff he's saying, like where we were at that point. It's pretty funny. Okay.
For kittens. Oh god. Okay.
We're gonna wrap it up here. So let's say if you guys are interested in giving us your feedback on the Marvel story, Bayonetta being free, all the clickbaiting bullshit that's out there. If you've played Pyre, let me know what you think because I'm really enjoying it. All that fun stuff, let us know. The easiest way to do that is hit us up on Twitter. I am at FranticJ3. He is at OnyxSpartan, ONYX all one word. And we are at Frantic_Talks. That is up in the center. It's kind of a hidden little Easter egg in our logo, by the way, if you didn't know that. Frantic_Talks is our Twitter account. And that's where you'll follow us. You can get all the information you need, like podcast schedules, if anything changes, articles, publishing of podcasts, all that great stuff. Also, at FreakShow187 is our special podcast Ghost. He loves his puns. Send him puns. He'll puntify. Oh, as I burped. He will puntify anything that you send to him, hopefully. Either way. But also, if you want to join in on this conversation live like Storm did today and like many others have done in the past, you can head over to twitch.tv/Frantic Talks, all one word. That is where you will be able to join us live every Saturday, usually at 3 p.m. Eastern, usually. And usually, of course, because we tend to have life happen and schedules change, whatever. Which, speaking of, next week, the 5th, is that Saturday of next week?
That's correct, the 5th.
The 5th, we will not be here live. We will be releasing an archived cast, which is like what we like to call it, a shorter version of the podcast that tends to focus on one topic, but gives you content. That way you aren't waiting a week or two for us to come back, which we'll actually be recording right after this. But anyways.
It's not fair, and I plead the 5th. I'm hating myself already for saying that.
Okay. Well, anyways. If you manage to not catch us live and don't want to wait till Monday to get the audio version, you can head over to youtube.com and get early access, as we like to call it, by searching up Frantic Talks, hitting the subscribe button, and you'll get access to all of our archived video versions of the podcast where you can see us do all these fancy hand motions and check out the articles we're talking about on screen. And also, you'll get access to all our other videos that we've uploaded as of this point. It's been one episode of the genre guessing game where we throw lyrics at each other and guess the genre, and a couple of my Sunday shows, as I like to call them, where I talk a lot about music, typically metal, and different topics within the music world, typically controversial topics, but I'll let you go find out about that.
Think of it like the YouTube channel is like a pre-order bonus without having to actually pay for it.
Exactly. And if you don't want your subscription feed to get all filled up, it's every Saturday one episode goes up, and that's all that shows up. We don't upload like 30 videos a week, so.
It's true.
Yeah, so if you want to join us in other conversations, head over to our Discord channel. I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the podcast, but it is a pinned tweet on the Frantic_Talks Twitter account, and I don't know how to actually get it to you otherwise, but if you head over there, click on that link and join in, you can join on the conversation. We tend to throw all our links to the articles we're going to be talking about, along with having conversations with a bunch of the guys in the Frantic Talks community. So join in over there for magic, not magic, and other fun stuff. And also head over to facebook.com/Frantic Talks, all one word, and hit the like button like 135 other people have done so far. It is just a Facebook form of Twitter, essentially, with all our podcasts and articles getting thrown out over there. And finally, frantictalks.com, the mothership. That's where you'll find everything I just mentioned in the footer, along with the articles, podcasts, and the like, all right there, right in front of your screen. And you can read up on everything on there and binge through podcasts, all to your liking. Everything you want to do is all going to be there. And also magic.frantictalks.com, which is linked on that website, or just head to that, type that link into the URL bar, like I said, and you can check out all our magic stuff and all the articles we've written there. And if all else fails, if you can't seem to find us, something's not working right, whatever it is, 110 times out of 10, Grunt, what can they do?
Direct themselves to the nearest search engine and just search Frantic Talks.
You'll find us. We guarantee it.
Guaranteed.
All right, so with all that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Like I said, continue the conversation over on Twitter, all that fun stuff, and you can let us know what you thought, whether you agree, disagree, or you're somewhere in the middle. Doesn't matter to us. We'd love to have that conversation, because this isn't our soapbox. This is our conversation starter, and we'd love to hear your thoughts. So with all that said, I think that about does it. We won't be here next week live, so don't show up expecting anything. You can angry tweet at me if you want, but I'm not going to respond if that's the case. Either way, won't be here. Look for the archived podcast to show up sometime that Saturday or Monday or whatever. And I think that about does it. Do you have anything else to add, Grunt?
Messing with bots is fun.
Grunt has a fetish. I swear to God, he just fucks with spam bots all the damn time, and it's really funny.
I got a message from another one over Xbox last night, and I'm trying to not respond, but it's not easy.
Oh, it's pretty fun. It's not easy being this slick against spam bots, huh?
It's not. I have no restraint. That's all I have to add, though.
Okay, that's fair. All right. Well, that about does it for us, guys. Like I said, let us know what you think, and that about does it. I'm Frantic, guys.
I'm Grant.
We'll see you guys next time.